Groudon. Groudon is here. Out of the blue, Niantic have released a new raid boss. Ho-Ho's going away, Groudon's coming in. Now, Groudon. This guy is pretty huge. His stats are crazy. His potential moveset are crazy. Countering him isn't easy. He's got no double weaknesses. He's got no overt flaws. This raid boss is interesting to say the least. Probably the most interesting since Raikou for me. Raikou was interesting because of the electric Pokemon not being very good in the game, and Raikou and Zapdos being standouts. This guy is unique. I mean, other than Kyogre, which doesn't exist in Pokemon Go, there's no direct kind of opposite to this guy. So it's going to be a rough one. So let's get started. Right, the base movesets that you're looking at for Groudon when you fight him, he's either going to have Iron Tail or Mud Slap as his quick moves. So given that he's a ground type, you probably want him to have Iron Tail, but Mud Slap's not insurmountable. It's where his charge moves comes in that's the real problem. Potentially, he could have Fire Blast, Solar Beam, or Earthquake. Now, when you look at those charge moves, now you understand why it's difficult to counter him. I mean, he can. He's susceptible to grass moves. He's susceptible to water moves. He's susceptible to ice moves. But like some of those things counter. They're bad against those things, and his attack is huge, so he's going to be dealing a whole bunch of damage. For example, a Solar Beam against a Vaporeon is going to really hurt unless you dodge it. And I know a lot of people out there, like myself, I do this too, just like tank the damage to get the DPS out because you get more balls that way. Of course, sometimes you have to dodge, and I think this might be one of them. I've not done a raid yet, so I can't say for sure, but I mean, if this guy's got Fire Blast, he counters your grass Pokemon. If he's got Solar Beam, he counters your water Pokemon. If he's got Earthquake's probably the best choice. Even though he would get his stab, even though if it's a clear day, it will be horrendous the amount of damage that this thing does. It's probably your best choice because then at least you know that you can solidly counter him. So, Groudon is going to have a max battle CP of 59,505. What? What? Like I said at the beginning, Groudon, he is huge, huge. I mean, this is pretty exciting. Ho-Ho, I wasn't that interested. I rated about 5 or 6 times in total. This guy looks like he's going to be super cool. Right. Given that he's a ground type, he'll get a boost in damage from clear weather. Take that into account when battling him. He's going to do more damage, even more damage in clear weather. Yeah. Let's get on to counters. I'm a bit flustered by this. I'm a bit flustered because it's not an easy one to work out. I mean, I've gone through my Pokemon and I've decided which ones are usable, and there are a lot that are usable, but some of them are just going to die really quickly. So I've picked out the top few, and there's more than this, but anyway, right, my number one counter, right, is gonna be Gyarados. I think most people have worked that out already. Gyarados is a flying / water type. Flying types avoid ground damage as much. It's not very effective against them. So if he's got ground moves, you're going to take less damage. Water, obviously water is going to be super effective against Groudon. Not doubly super effective, but super effective. So you want Waterfall as your quick move and Hydro Pump as your charge move. That's my number one pick. Now, after that things get complicated. It's difficult. The rest aren't really in any order. These are just ones that are usable. After that, you've got Sceptile with Bullet Seed and Leaf Blade. Sceptile being considered the best grass type Pokemon at the moment. So his damage capability, I mean, he's uniquely capable of having Leaf Blade, I think, amongst the starters. I'm not sure whether they changed that or not, but it's good. Sceptile's good, yeah. Then you've got Executor with Bullet Seed and Solar Beam. Going to be super effective, but again, if he's got Fire Blast, same with Sceptile, you're going to take a bunch of damage, even if you dodge, I think. Ho-Ho's an option. This is where I wish I did more Ho-Ho raids. Because he's a flying fire type, but he has access to Solar Beam. I mean, you're going to see that the reason why I'm picking these is, do they have Hydro Pump, do they have Solar Beam? Because that's how you DPS this guy. You need those moves, really. So with Extra Sentry and Solar Beam, he's a flying type, will avoid the ground damage, fire, he'll avoid the Fire Blast, and I don't think that, Solar Beam's not going to be super effective against him. So, maybe Ho-Ho's the number 2 counter behind Gyarados. This is a rough one. Given the lack of good ice types in the game, you could choose Articuno with Frost Breath and Ice Beam. Again, flying type, avoids the ground damage if it's got Mud Slap and Earthquake. But yeah, even Articuno's not that brilliant. I mean, he's okay as far as a Pokemon goes, but given there's a legendary, I expected better. But oh well, he's the best ice type, so that's what you should use. Vaporeon, Water Gun, and Hydro Pump. It's the best DPS moves anyway. Most guys out there would have Water Gun and Hydro Pump on their Vapes. Obviously, you're not going to avoid like the Solar Beams. It's going to hurt if you get hit by a Solar Beam. I mean, it all depends what this guy has got. Like I said, countering is difficult. Venusaur with Vine Whip and Solar Beam. Venusaur's still a pretty good Pokemon. Not as good as Sceptile, but decent out there. If you've got one that's good, usable. Then, I thought you could use... I mean, Groudon could counter Groudon. Groudon could counter Groudon. I mean, if you manage to get a good one and you can power him up real quickly, you've got a bunch of rare candies in reserve. You know, Mud Slap and Solar Beam, and maybe Mewtwo because of his crazy DPS potential. Confusion, Shadow Ball. I mean, they're not going to be super effective, but is going to deal a whole bunch of damage. After that, if you haven't got any of those, I mean, you could go through your Pokemon and look at, the Gen 2 starters for Alligator with Water Gun and Hydro Pump, Meganium with, I can't remember whether he can have, what quick move he can have, but Solar Beam, you want Solar Beam on him, maybe Victreebel with Solar Beam, but these guys, these last few that I'm reeling off, they're not going to last long, they're going to go down really quickly. Some of the ones that I've listed are going to be, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough, this one, I think. So, is max capture CP. If you see this, it's 100%er. It's 2785. 2785? What? That's huge. So, let's talk about his stats, right? His attack stat is pretty massive. I think it's second only to Mewtwo in its strength. It's closely followed up by his defense. So this guy is going to deal loads of damage and take very little. His hit points are nothing to shout home about, but his attack and defense is huge. This guy is going to be immense if you can catch one. I've seen that if you've got a perfect one, his maximum CP when fully powered up is above 4,000. Above 4,000. That just tells you how good his stats are. His overall stats are probably better than Mewtwo. Mewtwo is a real glass cannon. His attack stat is massive. It's huge. But the other two stats are poor. This guy's got a huge attack stat and a very, very, very good defense stat. So this one is really, really, really worth doing. You can get your stab moves on this guy. So obviously you'll be able to have Mudslap and Earthquake on him for general DPS and, you know, countering stuff that ground attacks are good against. And his other moves are pretty useful too to switch to counter later legendary bosses. So this guy is really good. I mean, in the main series game, he has a unique move. I don't think that they're introducing unique moves into Pokemon Go yet, but I think it's called Precipice Blades. And it will be interesting if he's got that, because it's a ground attack and it will be unique and will probably do a whole load of damage and will be the choice of charge move. But I doubt that we'll see that. So yeah, this guy Groudon is gonna be huge, guys. Get your counters ready. Power up those Gyarados. I can't shout about Gyarados enough. Get yourself some Gyarados. I mean, I've got a 96% Gyarados, which I'm gonna power up for this. I've got a few Gyarados that I've left over from the old gym system, whose IVs are they're not exactly poor, but they're above 80%. I'm not going to power them up because they're already above 3,000. I'm going to switch the moves to use against this guy. So you get your raid buddies together, get a bigger team, and make sure that you've got enough damage to take this guy down, because he's gonna be rough. He's gonna be rough, rougher than a Solar Beam Ho-Ho, I think. I mean, Ho-Ho could be rough. I mean, I had a few rough experiences with Ho-Ho, but this guy. But you can reap the rewards. I mean, it's going to be really difficult, but on the other hand, you're going to end up with a really good Pokemon. I mean, this guy is almost, I mean, it's like almost Mewtwo level quality. So, well, this is my opinion, of course, but Mewtwo's an EX raid. You have to be lucky to get one. You have to, I mean, you've got to use rare candies. You can't get them from anywhere else. I mean, if you get a good Groudon, you can just keep doing Groudon raids to gather candies. Try Pinapping. If you're lucky, you can gather at least some of the candies that you need to get him. I mean, at the worst, you could put him on as your buddy. I mean, you can't put Mewtwo on as a buddy until you've got a Mewtwo, so you have to go through the whole process first. I'm rambling, but Groudon's ace. In my opinion, ace. Go and get yourselves one, guys. Get yourself a good one. Get him banked. Probably get him powered up, because he's gonna be useful. That's my information video regarding Groudon, guys. So enjoy it. I'm gonna Groudon.